Have you ever felt like the world keeps speeding up while you're standing still, quietly wondering how you fell so far behind? I remember a season in my life when everything looked fine on the outside, yet something inside felt worn down. The days were full, the calendar always busy, but my heart felt heavy. Not because I wasn't trying hard enough, not because I had failed. I was simply tired. The kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. The kind that comes from carrying too much for too long. Maybe you know that feeling too, when life keeps asking for more, but you have less to give. When the noise of the world grows louder and your own voice becomes harder to hear. In moments like that, it's easy to believe you're falling behind, but the truth is, you're not behind at all. You're human. Sometimes what we need isn't motivation or another plan. It's permission. Permission to slow down, to rest, to breathe without guilt. Peace begins the moment we stop measuring our worth by speed or productivity and start listening to what our hearts are quietly asking for. If this message feels familiar, you're not alone, and you're in the right place. Welcome to Simple Earth Studio, a gentle space for those ready to move slower, live softer, and find meaning again in the quiet moments. Somewhere along the way, life stopped being gentle. The mornings began before we were ready, and the nights stretched on long after our energy had faded. Days filled themselves with meetings, errands, expectations, and responsibilities we never questioned. We simply carried them. The noise became constant. Not just the noise around us, but the noise inside our minds. And rest? Rest became something we promised ourselves. Later. Later when things calm down. Later when the kids are grown. Later when work eases up. Later when life allows it. For many of us in our 40s, 50s, and 60s, strength became a habit. We learned to be strong because life asked us to be. Strong for our families, showing up even when we were exhausted. Strong at work, pushing through stress and uncertainty without complaint. Strong for everyone else, carrying worries quietly so others wouldn't have to. Over time, strength stopped being a choice and became an identity. We were the ones who handled things, the ones who kept going. But strength, when never allowed to rest, slowly turns into quiet exhaustion. It doesn't arrive all at once. It shows up in small ways. In the sigh you didn't notice you took. In the way joy feels muted. In the evenings when you sit down and feel oddly empty, even though you did everything you were supposed to do that day. You may still function well. On the outside, everything looks fine. But inside, something feels worn, tender, tired in a way sleep alone can't fix. I remember a moment that made this clear to me. It wasn't dramatic. I was standing in the kitchen, late afternoon light spilling across the counter, when I realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd done something slowly. Everything had become rushed, even the moments meant for rest. I ate quickly, walked quickly, thought quickly. I was always preparing for the next thing, even when nothing urgent was happening. And that's when it hit me. My life hadn't become hard, it had become hurried. We live in a world that praises movement, productivity, and endurance. Slowing down is often mistaken for giving up. Rest is treated like a reward instead of a necessity. And so we keep going, telling ourselves we'll pause someday. But the truth is, life rarely slows down on its own. If we wait for the perfect moment to rest, we may wait forever. There is a quiet courage in choosing to slow down. Not the kind that makes headlines, but the kind that saves a soul. It takes bravery to say, I don't need to prove my worth by being busy. It takes honesty to admit, I'm tired, and that doesn't make me weak, especially for those of us who have spent decades being dependable, capable, and strong. Slowing down doesn't mean abandoning responsibility.
It means meeting life with presence instead of pressure. It means allowing yourself to sit with a cup of coffee without checking the clock, taking a walk without turning it into exercise, letting silence exist without feeling the need to fill it. These moments may seem small, but they are deeply restorative. They remind us that we are human, not machines. As we grow older, our needs change, even if we don't always give ourselves permission to honor that. What once energized us may now drain us. What once felt exciting may now feel overwhelming. This isn't failure, it's wisdom knocking gently, asking us to listen, to soften, to choose differently. There is nothing wrong with you for feeling tired. There is nothing broken about needing rest. In fact, it may be a sign that you've cared deeply, worked hard, and given generously for a long time. And now, perhaps, it's time to offer some of that care back to yourself. Life doesn't need to be loud to be meaningful. Some of the most important moments happen quietly, in the early morning light, in the stillness before sleep, in the pauses we once rushed past. When we slow down, we don't lose time, we return to it. So if life feels like it never slows down, remember this: you are allowed to rest before you break. You are allowed to choose gentleness now, not later. And you are allowed to live a life that feels calm on the inside, even if the world keeps moving fast on the outside. You've been strong for a long time. Now it's okay to be gentle.
There is a kind of tiredness that doesn't show on the outside. It doesn't always come with tears or breakdowns. Sometimes it wears a polite smile. It keeps appointments. It answers messages. It tells the world, I'm fine. But inside, the heart feels heavy, quietly heavy. I've learned that a tired heart doesn't always ask for rest in obvious ways. Sometimes it just feels overwhelmed by small things. A cluttered kitchen feels unbearable. A simple decision feels exhausting. Even silence feels noisy. And you start wondering what's wrong with you, because from the outside, life looks good enough. This kind of tiredness is common, especially for those who have lived a little longer. For people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, people who have carried responsibilities for decades. You've shown up for others, you've adapted. You've stayed strong when life asked too much. And somewhere along the way, your heart learned how to keep going, even when it was tired. I remember sitting at the kitchen table one evening, long after dinner was over. The house was quiet, the lights were low, there was nothing urgent left to do, and yet my chest felt tight. My mind wouldn't settle. I wasn't sad exactly, just worn, as if I had been holding my breath for years and didn't know how to let it go. That was when I realized something important. This wasn't weakness. This was my heart asking to be heard. We live in a world that praises endurance. We are taught to push through, stay busy, stay productive, stay positive. Rest is often framed as something we earn after everything is done. But for many of us, everything is never done. There is always another task, another expectation, another reason to delay listening to ourselves. So the heart adapts. It gets quieter. It learns to wait. A tired heart doesn't demand attention. It whispers. It longs for silence, for simplicity, for permission to slow down without guilt. It wants space, not just physical space, but emotional space. Space to stop performing, space to stop explaining, space to simply be. And when we don't give it that space, the tiredness shows up in small ways. We lose patience more quickly. We feel disconnected from things we used to enjoy. We scroll without purpose. We feel restless even in calm moments. We mistake this for a personal failure, when in truth, it's a deeply human response to years of carrying too much.
There is a quiet relief in realizing this, because it means you are not broken, you are not ungrateful, you are not falling apart. You are listening, even if you don't yet know how to respond. Healing doesn't always begin with big changes. For tired hearts, it often starts very gently. It might look like sitting with a cup of tea and not reaching for your phone. It might look like clearing one small space in your home. It might be allowing yourself to say no without offering an explanation, or taking a slow walk and noticing how the light moves through the trees. These moments may seem small, but they speak a language the heart understands. As we grow older, meaning begins to shift. Success becomes quieter. Happiness becomes simpler. We stop chasing constant excitement and start longing for peace, real peace, the kind that settles deep in the body. And that peace doesn't come from doing more. It comes from allowing less. Less noise, less pressure, less pretending. There is courage in slowing down, courage in admitting that you are tired, not because you failed, but because you cared deeply for a long time. A tired heart is not a weak heart. It is a heart that has loved, endured, and kept going when it didn't have to. So if you feel overwhelmed by small things, if your mind feels busy even when your day is quiet, if rest feels unfamiliar or uncomfortable, pause, breathe, listen. That quiet ache inside you is not asking for perfection. It is asking for honesty, for presence, for a life that feels softer, truer, and more your own. And maybe today, instead of pushing yourself to keep going, you can offer your heart something it's been waiting for: permission to slow down.
Let me tell you something gently, the way no one ever seems to anymore. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply human, living in a world that forgot how to breathe. I know how easy it is to feel otherwise. We live surrounded by invisible clocks, timelines telling us where we should be by a certain age, careers built by 40, financial security by 50, happiness neatly wrapped in achievements and milestones. Somewhere along the way, we started measuring our worth by speed, by how much we do, how quickly we recover, how little rest we need. And when our bodies or hearts ask us to slow down, we blame ourselves for not keeping up. I remember a quiet evening not long ago. I was sitting alone at the kitchen table, lights dim, the house finally still. My phone buzzed with photos of people announcing new chapters, promotions, travels, celebrations. I felt a familiar tightening in my chest. That quiet voice whispered, "You should be further along by now." Maybe you've heard that voice too. It doesn't shout, it sighs, and it can be heavy. But here's what that voice doesn't tell you. Life was never meant to be a race, and peace was never meant to be earned through exhaustion. We were not designed to sprint from one goal to the next without pausing to feel the ground beneath our feet. Yet many of us have spent decades doing exactly that, especially those of us who grew up believing hard work fixes everything, that rest must be justified, that slowing down is somehow failure. So we keep going, even when we're tired in ways sleep doesn't fix. What if the reason you feel behind isn't because you failed, but because you finally noticed the cost? There comes a moment, often quietly, when something inside us says, "I can't live like this anymore." Not in anger, not in despair, just truth. And that moment isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the soul asking for air. You are not behind because your path doesn't look like someone else's. You are not late because your life unfolded differently than expected.
You are not broken because you needed time to heal, to grieve, to rest, to begin again. These pauses you've taken, the detours, the slow seasons, they weren't mistakes, they were necessary. We forget that life has seasons, just like nature. There are times to grow, times to harvest, and times to lie fallow. No one criticizes the earth for resting in winter, and yet we criticize ourselves endlessly for needing the same grace. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is slow down. Not quit, not give up, just slow down enough to listen to your body, to your heart, to the quiet truth you've been ignoring because the world was too loud. Choosing yourself doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like saying no without explaining, taking a walk without your phone, letting the house be a little messy so your mind can be a little clearer, allowing yourself to be present instead of productive. These small acts of kindness toward yourself add up. They rebuild something deeper than success. They rebuild trust with your own life. You are not behind. You are right on time for your life. The one that fits you. The one that doesn't require you to run until you collapse. The one where peace is not a reward at the finish line, but a companion along the way. So if today feels slower than you planned, let it be. If your journey has taken longer, honor it. You are not here to impress anyone. You are here to live, to breathe, to feel moments of quiet joy that no timeline can measure. And maybe, just maybe, the moment you stop chasing where you think you should be is the moment you finally arrive exactly where you belong.
There comes a point in life when the noise gets too loud. Not just the noise outside, the phones, the news, the endless demands, but the noise inside. The quiet pressure telling us we should be doing more, fixing more, becoming something better by now. Many of us in the second half of life know this feeling well. We've carried responsibilities, raised families, built careers, endured losses, and kept going even when we didn't know how. And yet, despite all that strength, there are days when we feel worn thin, days when the idea of fixing everything feels impossible. Here is a quiet reminder you may need today. You don't need to fix your whole life. Not today. Maybe not ever in the way you've been told. I remember sitting alone one evening after a long day, the house finally quiet. Nothing dramatic had happened, no crisis, just a deep, unshakable exhaustion. I caught myself making mental lists, things I should improve, habits I should change, plans I should make, and suddenly I felt overwhelmed by my own thoughts. That's when I stopped. I took one slow breath, just one, and for a moment I let myself off the hook. That moment didn't change my life, but it changed my night, and sometimes that's enough. We live in a culture that celebrates transformation, big goals, fresh starts, better versions of ourselves, but rarely do we hear permission to simply pause, to rest without guilt, to sit quietly without trying to solve anything. Yet peace doesn't come through force. It doesn't arrive through pressure or perfection. It comes softly when we allow it space. You don't need a new plan today. You don't need a breakthrough. You don't even need answers. What you need, what many of us need, is one quiet moment, one deep breath that reminds your body it is safe right now. One gentle pause where you stop running, even briefly, from your own thoughts. One small decision to treat yourself with the same kindness you so freely give to others. As we get older, we begin to understand something we couldn't see before. Life is not a problem to be solved. It's an experience to be lived, slowly, imperfectly, honestly.
Peace doesn't arrive all at once like a sudden sunrise. It returns gradually, like light through a window at dawn, almost unnoticed at first, until one day you realize the room is brighter. I've learned that peace often returns when we stop fighting ourselves, when we stop replaying old regrets or worrying about how we should have done things differently, when we stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What do I need right now?" Sometimes the answer is rest. Sometimes it's silence. Sometimes it's simply permission to feel what we feel without judgment. There is courage in slowing down. In a world that never stops pushing forward, choosing stillness is an act of strength. Choosing kindness toward yourself, especially after years of being strong for everyone else, is not weakness. It is wisdom earned through living. You may not believe it yet, but nothing is wrong with you for feeling tired. Nothing is broken because you're questioning things now. This season of life often brings a deeper awareness, a quieter longing, not for more, but for meaning, for peace that feels real, not performative, for days that feel lighter, not fuller. So tonight, or tomorrow morning, or whenever this reaches you, try this. Sit somewhere quiet, put your feet on the floor, take one slow breath, and remind yourself that you are allowed to rest without earning it. Peace doesn't demand urgency. It doesn't shout. It waits patiently for you to stop running. And when you do, when you finally allow yourself to pause, you may discover that peace was never gone. It was simply waiting for you to come back to yourself. You don't need to fix your whole life today. You only need this moment.
There are people in this world who don't complain. They wake up, show up, and keep going, even when they are tired down to their bones. They carry responsibilities quietly, hold families together, meet expectations, and smile when asked how they're doing. And somewhere along the way, they learn to hide their own exhaustion so well that even they forget how heavy it has become. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. I've known that kind of tiredness, the kind that sleep doesn't quite fix, the kind that settles into your shoulders, your breath, your thoughts. You can feel it when the house finally grows quiet, when the noise of the day fades and you're left alone with yourself. It's not just physical fatigue, it's emotional. It's the weight of years spent being strong, responsible, dependable. Years of doing what needed to be done, even when no one noticed the cost. But here's something I wish someone had told me sooner. Your life still has beauty. Not the loud, obvious kind that demands attention, but the quiet beauty that lives in ordinary moments. The warmth of a cup of coffee in your hands, the familiar creak of the floor in the morning, the sound of your own breath when you finally pause. Beauty doesn't disappear just because life becomes difficult. Sometimes it grows softer, waiting patiently for you to notice it again. And your presence still matters. Not because of what you produce, not because of what you provide, not because of how much you sacrifice. It matters simply because you are here, because your voice, your experience, your quiet understanding of the world carries meaning. In a culture that praises speed and achievement, it's easy to forget that being present, truly present, is enough. You don't have to earn your worth. You never did. For many of us, rest feels like something we have to justify. We tell ourselves we'll slow down once everything is finished, once the work is done, once the family is settled, once the next milestone is reached. But that moment rarely comes.
there is always something else waiting. And so we keep going, tired but moving, worn but standing. Here's the truth that may feel unfamiliar. Rest is not something you have to deserve. Rest is a basic human need. The body knows this, the heart knows this. It's only the mind, trained by years of pressure and expectation, that forgets. Sometimes healing doesn't begin with dramatic change. It doesn't start with quitting everything, reinventing your life, or becoming someone new. Sometimes healing begins with acceptance, with allowing yourself to admit, quietly and honestly, I am tired. With recognizing that this tiredness doesn't mean you failed, it means you've lived. It means you've cared. Acceptance is gentle. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't demand answers. It simply creates space. And in that space, something soft begins to happen. Your breathing slows, your thoughts loosen their grip. You stop fighting the moment you're in and start meeting it with compassion instead. I remember a morning when nothing was particularly wrong, yet everything felt heavy. I sat by the window watching light move across the wall, and for once, I didn't try to fix how I felt. I didn't push myself to be positive or productive. I just sat there. And in that stillness, something shifted. Not dramatically, but enough. Enough to remind me that I was allowed to pause, that I was allowed to be human. So, if this moment finds you in the dark or in the early light of morning, carrying worries no one sees, take this as permission to breathe, to unclench, to remember that you are not behind, you are not broken, you are simply tired. And tired people deserve rest, tired hearts deserve kindness, and your life, just as it is, still matters.
There's a quiet comfort in realizing you're not alone in how you feel. So many of us carry silent weight, years of responsibility, expectations, and unspoken worries, all while the world keeps asking us to move faster. Sometimes all we need is a gentle reminder that it's okay to pause, that it's okay to feel tired, that it's okay to want something softer. Here at Simple Earth Studio, we believe in creating calm spaces for weary minds and quiet moments for hearts that have carried a lot. This is a place where nothing needs to be fixed, proven, or rushed. Just a place to sit, breathe, and remember what it feels like to be present again. Life doesn't always ask us to do more. Often it invites us to slow down and listen, to notice the stillness between breaths, to allow peace to arrive without effort. When we stop pushing, we make room for clarity, for gratitude, and a deeper sense of meaning. If this message touched your heart, know that you're welcome here. And if you'd like more moments like this, please consider subscribing to Simple Earth Studio. Slow down, take a breath, and let life meet you exactly where you are.